Radford, and we are here representing Storytelling Arts of Indianapolis, which is being hosted by Kaleidoscope of Stories through the Indianapolis Public Library. We are super honored to be here and super excited that we have some young and some elder guests here to join us. We think it's going to be great. We hope that you'll love it. I want to give you guys some choices. You were asking me earlier about the stories that I'm going to tell and if they come from a different place. I have one that is I'm going to share that's a scary story because it's Halloween, it's the month of October. And I have another one that I'm going to share that is actually what's called a Gullah story. And the Gullah people live on the border of Georgia Sea Islands and South Carolina. And so that one is, there's some, the colloquialism and the voices will change a little bit. So I just want to, because they're young children, I want to give some options. Do we want to start with the scary and end with a funny, or do we want to start with the funny and end with the scary?
How do you feel about scary stories, Ira? Do you like them or not so much? Probably better start with the funny.
Start with the funny.
So we can slip out if you didn't like the scary.
Yeah, okay. And it's age appropriate, so it's not like, hopefully it's not going to cause nightmares or anything
Oh,
like
I
that.
don't think so. He's 6, but he's just a 6.
Oh, okay. This is definitely age appropriate.
Okay.
So you say start with the funny
You think so?
or start with the scary? Grandmother, I'll let you make the call.
He's fine. Ira doesn't have an opinion and he likes scary, so.
Okay, we'll
He's
go.
9.
We will start with scary then. So this story is called 3 Witches. And on the eve of Halloween, deep into a dark forest, and also in an old beat-up home, sat 3 witches having their supper. And outside, the wind was howling. The shutters were banging up against the house and pushing the branches up against the house. While inside, the 3 witches sat talking about all the evil spells that they were going to conjure up and put on innocent people on the eve of Halloween at 12 o'clock midnight. When outside in the deep of the forest came a knocking. And the witches wanted to know, who's there? And outside came a voice that said, someone who is cold through and through and hungry too. And the witches laughed and said, we are cooking our supper for ourselves, not for you. Hoo, hoo, hoo. And there again, the voice said, I am cold through and through and hungry too. And again, the witches laughed. We are cooking our suppers for ourselves, not for you. Who is there? And there was no voice, but the knocking continued. And every time the knocking continued, the witches would ask the same question, but no voice would come. Until finally, one of the witches got up, went over and picked up a little piece of dough about the size of a pea and dropped it into a frying pan. And the dough began to spread and spread and spread, and it filled up the frying pan, and then it spilled over onto the floor. And the witches decided, oh, we better try to get out of here. So they went over to the door, and they pulled and pulled and pulled, but the door wouldn't come open. And so again, they said, who is there? No voice, but the knocking continued. And the dough continued to swell and swell and swell until it started climbing up their gnarled arms and legs, and they had to run and climb up the stairs. And again, they continued to ask, who is there? Because the knocking continued, right? Who is there? And now the dough is big and swelling, and it's filling up their body all the way up to their neck. And so one last time they say, who is there? And the knocking stops. And a voice says, You must go. You no longer have a home here. Shoo, shoo, shoo. And the witches reached out their arms and began to flap. Hoo, 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 hoo. And they turned into owls. And to this very day, if you go into the woods at night, you will hear them going, who is going to cook for you? But beware, if you go into the woods on Halloween Eve, the owls turn back into witches, and they are there to weed an evil spell on anyone that would come into the woods. Thank you.